Withdraw.
Without objection, amendment number 1 withdrawn. Next amendment.
House Finance, Ways and Means Committee Amendment 2, spread on the member's desk.
Chairman Sargent, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Move to adopt. This amendment makes the bill. I move to adopt and defer to the sponsor for further explanation.
Chairman Sargent moves adoption. Amendment number 2, properly seconded. Discussion on the amendment. All those in favor of amendment number 1, amendment number 2, say aye. Those opposed, say no. You adopt. Next amendment.
Who's that? Was the timely filed? Yes. Amendment 3 by Van Huss, spread on the member's desk. Madam Speaker, members, it was timely filed.
Representative Van Huss, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Amendment number 3 removes Johnson City from the bill. 4 days ago, Johnson City voted to de-annex Gray, and I want to thank Johnson City for working with the Washington County delegation to resolve our constituents' concerns.
Representative Van Huss moves adoption. Amendment number 3, properly seconded. Discussion on the amendment. Representative Carter, you're recognized.
Yes, ma'am. That's a friendly amendment, and I would like to laud the people from Johnson City who listened to the complaints of their citizens, who met and discussed it and voluntarily did on their own motion what this bill would have allowed them to vote and do. So to the representatives of Johnson City tonight, you have my undying respect and gratitude. With that, I move adoption of the amendment.
All those in favor of amendment number 3 say aye. Those opposed say no. You adopt. Next amendment.
Amendment 4 by Towns, spread on the member's desk. Madam Speaker, members, it was timely filed.
Representative Towns, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Sponsor yield.
Yes.
Move adoption of Amendment 4.
Representative Towns moves adoption of amendment number 4, properly seconded. Discussion on the amendment. Representative Carter, you recognized.
Madam Speaker, that amendment is not friendly, and I would move it to the table.
Proper motion, properly second. The parliamentary situation is that Representative Towns has moved adoption of amendment number 4. Representative Carter has moved that motion to the table. That cuts to all the date except that of the sponsor. Representative Towns, you are recognized.
Madam Speaker, this amendment is self-explanatory. However, I'm going to elaborate on it just for a second. What the amendment seeks to do is the same thing that we just heard, is to take Shelby County or take Memphis out of the equation. As you know, I think there's been some material passed out that alerts you to the fact that this is going to be devastating to a municipality that has already has its boundary line set. Now, all of us are familiar with the stock market, and you know how the stock market fluctuates. The stock market fluctuates based upon uncertainty, instability. This absolutely is creating havoc and instability in a city that has its boundary lines drawn 18 years ago. It's mighty peculiar that 18 years later that we would have someone that would try to change the boundary lines of a city or municipality. Obviously, what this does, this increases the cost of doing business. This creates an environment where your taxes obviously are going to have to go up, your property taxes. None of our businesses, our major businesses for this bill. Obviously, our mayors aren't for this bill. It threatens our bond rating because you can't pay your bills. You got to be able to pay your bills. And paying your bills is based upon you having some assuredness of the kind of revenue you're going to generate. Mind you that some of these bills were made 18 or 20 years ago. These bills have already been made. And the obligation of that municipality is to pay those bills and honor that obligation. And we don't need, nor any city needs, someone threatening their ability to do business that you promised that you would be able to do. This bill, from all indication, $85 million to $100 million is what it seems to threaten. It also threatens 100,000 constituents. That's the size, that's larger than the size of Jackson, Tennessee. 100,000 citizens all of a sudden taken out of the equation, not by something that has been initiated by people that are in that city necessarily, but by someone else. And I've shared this with many people before, especially with some of the major cities. We hadn't asked anybody for help on how to do business in our particular area. But this absolutely is an attempt to flatline economically the wherewithal of that locale to be able to meet its obligation. That's not good business. That's bad business. Now, we're setting the precedent. We do it once, we'll do it twice, and we'll do it to someone else. This is absolutely unrighteous in terms of a bill that has application to mainly one major city, which to me says that it was designed to target one major city. Davidson County is a metropolitan area. Some of these other areas. So why is it that it's targeting one major city? No city can function under these kinds of rules. No city can. No government can. You're going to change the boundary lines. You're going to change the financial flow. You're going to change the means of doing business, the ability to do business. Nobody can function like that. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that, so there's something else is going on. In order for it to be righteous, you're going to have to vote in order to allow the self-determination of those particular areas. City of Memphis does not require or solicit or need any assistance in terms of how it decides to do business. There are elected people there that know exactly what needs to be done, and they've done it. And we need the body to be reasonable, to be insightful, to be business-minded and oriented, so as we can continue to function as we have in terms of being able to do business and meet our financial obligations. And with that explanation, Madam Chair, I would encourage you all to support us on this amendment.
The parliamentary situation is that Representative Towns has moved the adoption of Amendment Number 4. Representative Carter has moved that motion to the table. We're voting on the tabling motion. All those in favor vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, take the vote.
Aye 69, 25 nay.
The ayes have it. The motion is tabled. Next amendment.